One, three. And now, Jacksonville, Florida, coming live with the Pink Parachute Recovery, brought to you by Mars Productions. And now, your host, Jeff Deck. Give it up.
Thank you so much, Clay. Welcome to Pink Parachute Recovery, and I'm your host, Jeff Deck, and we are in the Mars Studios, Mars production of music and artists in recovery and sobriety, and we're growing, Clay. We had Westside Mark here today in the studio. He did his first podcast. Look for that, guys. He had the young friend Caleb on today.
That's right.
Yeah. Mark is going to be bringing in musicians who he's going to interview them about their sobriety, and they're going to be oh, nice. We got some sound effects this week, Clay. And then each musician's going to play a little something. And thank you for coming back to us. We had no show last week because I was basically dying. Long story. 103.7 fever, pneumonia in my right lung. You know, my wife, Samantha, prayed over me and I had gotten holy water from my trip to Malibu for work. That was blessed by the Franciscan monks. And she threw holy water on my ass, Clay. Yeah. So I'm back and better than ever. And man, we got a show for y'all. And if you're watching us on YouTube right now, you see two beautiful young ladies. And guess what? They single. But be careful, because we're gonna be talking about sliding in those DMs at some point, ain't we? But it's the Trish and Trish show. You all want to say hi, Trish? You know what? I got to kind of like figure something out here. Can we do Trish number 1 and Trish number 2? Just because I've known Trish number 1 a little bit longer. Is that okay with y'all?
Okay.
Yeah, or I could do Trish/M/L/ not take it. I could do some shit like that.
Yeah.
You good with that?
It's not Trisha, just Trish. Yeah.
Trish?
Yeah.
Are you just Trish?
Trish.
Okay, so Trish 1 and Trish 2. Okay. So we got both Trishes on today, and we're going to have a lot of fun. So let me ask first. I'm going to go back and forth here. Trish 1, what's your sobriety date?
9/22/2008.
Holy crap. So you're just hit 14.
Yes.
And Trish 2?
5/26/19.
5/26, and you're 3.5.
Yes.
Fantastic. So I got to ask y'all, when did this become like the Trish and Trish show? Because what I've seen here in the past couple of months of y'all have really bonded, right? I've seen y'all on Facebook at meetings, taking pictures together. And I know y'all have known each other for a few years because both of y'all have been in that haunted house I used to do every single year, but I never saw y'all talk to each other. So what came about, if one of y'all want to answer, to where you guys have just linked up and become good friends?
Well, we had all the same friends. We both grew up in Mandarin, and I started hearing about her several years ago because my friend Kat would say the other Trish, and I'm like, what do you mean the other Trish?
Oh.
And so then I met her, and I was like, I looked her up, I'm like, I like her, and we both have a lot in common. We're both adopted, and
Really?
so yes, so I think
Trish gave me some advice when I went to find my biological parents, and she walked me through the process.
I think prior to even coming in, someone had recommended her to me. I think someone that you went to the bar with, or I can't remember if it was my sister or someone, but they linked us up before that all happened, and we started communicating.
Oh, wow. So she actually helped you find your biological dad or something?
I think she
walked me through the process of the ancestry.com.
Have you found him?
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Ironically, my birth father was killed by a drunk driver.
Oh my goodness.
And my birth mother is still alive and well, and I met her and my birth grandmother, which is really cool.
Wow, that's pretty ironic there. We're getting a little bit of interference on Trish number 2's speaker. Do you hear everything okay, Clay? Okay, good. I just wanted to double check. It must be my headphone. Well, that's amazing. And what this show is basically about, we want to make sure that we get this in. You know, guys, if you're listening for the first time, it's called Pink Parachute Recovery. Because for me, anyway, I think it's okay to be on a pink cloud. I think it's okay to live life, enjoy sobriety, right? However, it's okay for me to be on that pink cloud as long as I got that pink parachute. And the pink parachute is a tool to this program, right? Because I don't know about y'all. You ever go to that speaker meeting and, hey, listen, to each their own, right? But you ever hear that speaker and everything is just perfect? Like what it was like, what happened, and then what it's like now. And they could be 20 years, they could be 5 years, they could be 40 years sober, and it's just all daisies and dandelions, right? I can't really relate with that because of how my sobriety's been. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, exactly. Right. So what? Maybe I could go back and forth with each of y'all. Maybe give me one or two quick examples of something that's really happened in your life. It could have turned your life upside down. Something that you really, really went to. I see Trish number 2. She's ready. She's ready. I mean, I'm sure because Trish and I are great friends. Trish 1 and I are great friends. I could speak for her on this shit. It's been a rough 3 years, from jet skis to fucking boyfriends to cancer, right? I mean, she even plays the cancer card when she Ubers, y'all. She gets extra tips. I mean, I think that's what we got to do. But how about we start with you, Trish 1?
Okay, well, it's actually coming up on my anniversary of my double mastectomy in a couple days. It's my son's 21st birthday, so I try not to make his birthday about that. So I wish I wouldn't have had my surgery on his birthday, but he ended up getting his first tattoo with my name and the pink ribbon, and I told him there's nothing on you that you need on your body for the rest of your life that you need to be deciding at 18, and he kind of showed me up. I'm like, okay, I can see where
that's him though. That's him.
Yeah, and I said, you just did that to get women, and he's like, well, that's working. And yes, that whole process. Right before that, I was in a jet ski accident in Mandarin, and I almost drowned, and I couldn't walk for a little while, and I healed really fast from that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was diagnosed almost immediately after, and yeah, it's been a rough several years, but I'm so glad that I have the stuff that I have, and I didn't walk through that alone, because I needed every bit of that, because this process, your head tells you stuff that's just not true.
Right.
And I remember my journey in sobriety. I think you wrote it on the board one time. I said I woke up feeling sentenced to life when I got sober.
Yeah.
Well, this process made the same feeling. I was waking up saying, why are you so upset? You haven't had time to screw up the day yet. And I would realize that that's my head, that it was like the stuff going on, the hormonal shift. But if I didn't have all of this, I wouldn't have realized how to combat all of that negativity that this puts you through.
Sure.
In your head. But I compared it to that early feeling of not knowing how to live your life without chemicals, with or without.
Mm-hmm.
And so the just the chemical shift in my head, if I wouldn't have had the tools that I'd learned, I think I would have listened to that negativity. And so that's one of the
that's that cutting, baffling, powerful shit. We don't even know. It doesn't matter how many years we are. We've been around. We've seen people go out at certain amount of times. And what I seen from Trish was, she has that jet ski thing, right? And then she goes through a crazy ass bad breakup with this dude, right? And then you got the cancer thing, right? Yeah. But what I saw was Trish showing up every freaking day. Like, I think you had a walker at one point. Yes. You had a walker. I think she actually showed up one day with a hospital gown, and that shit was open in the back. I think. No, that's when I came to visit you at your house. Right? But I mean, the fellowship, the joining, the going to the events, doing the fundraising, participating, being on boards at San Marco and the other place, just being active and being in the middle of recovery. Having a sponsor.
You had that handicap parking thing that said Trish, and I'd forgotten about it because I had such a bad concussion, and I found it in the stock room, and I was like, "What is this?" And you
That's
said,
right.
You said you don't remember that, and you made me my own little parking space.
Yeah, we made her a handicap spot.
The jet ski accident. But I'd forgotten about it because that concussion, I almost drowned. That concussion was really bad, so I forgot a lot of stuff. So.
You know what's funny? Trish 1 brought up about when I was asking about how y'all two came together, right? Mm-hmm. About, I've heard about her and all this stuff, right? And the funny thing is, let me relate for a second. It was about 2 months ago. Trish 2 was speaking at Trout River. She was doing the steps, and you did a fantastic job that night. Was it? No, don't yell at me. Was it step 3?
I did step 3, and then I also shared my story in 2
Yes.
different nights.
Yes, but I was there for step 3.
Oh, okay.
But it was posted by our friend Uncle Bob, right? And it was just, Trish is speaking tonight. And I show up waiting to hear this Trish. And I got this Trish. And because I went and was like, this Trish is going to speak on step 3. I got to be there for that shit, right? And thank God I was there because I got something out of this Trish over here. I'm just playing, right?
I did my step 8.
Oh,
yeah,
God.
and they love that because I read my original email that I wanted to send out, and my sponsor had said, don't send that out. And I read it, and it was totally something that did not need to be sent out.
That's awesome. All right, Trish, too. So, have you given you a few minutes here? Anything like hit you? Is there a time here in your 3.5 years where you almost like Todd Lynch and I? We always say that's Todd Lynch and I came up with this pink parachute thing. At least twice a year, we're going to be brought to our knees. We got to make sure we have these tools. What do you got for me?
Oh, I would say my biggest struggles were in sobriety. Maybe it's just because I dealt with it sober. I don't know, but it was like some serious shit. So, or I could sit down.
Oh, please. No, we go by Rule 62 here. Okay. Don't take yourself so seriously. This is not an NC-17 show.
So
Clay got that. Oh, I like that. Yeah, that was good.
So my roller coaster ride. So I was one of those, like, after 90 days, I thought I had graduated and could do it all, like, no, I think I really got it now. And so when I came back after my relapse in 2019, I came back in a wheelchair because I almost killed myself in a drinking and driving accident. Thank God I was only by myself. But it was like, I'll never forget it like it was yesterday. And there I was ignoring my sponsors. She's Kat. And I'm like, oh.
Hold on, Kat's your sponsor?
No, Kat was in the beginning.
Oh, okay.
And, Kat and Mandarin. Yeah.
Yes, yes. And I love her to death.
You're good.
Love her to death to this day. We're great friends. So it was just a change of sponsorship along the way. But so I came back to the meetings like broken as can be. Like I had shattered all bones in both ankles. I had dislocated my left heel. I had internal bleeding. I had broke all my ribs and just you name it. So I was in ICU for a week and then trauma unit for like 3 weeks at Memorial. And so, and Uncle Bob and there's like some coincidences there. Like I just learned 3 years later at the convention, I'm out on the beach with Frankie and we're like talking and Uncle Bob's there and he's like, hey, would you speak at Trout River? And I was like, when I was in the hospital, like the most amazing people came in. I call my AA angels and they brought in a meeting. I have no idea who they were. And he goes, that was you?
Holy crap.
And I was like, the tears started coming out. We both started crying. And I was like, oh my God. And he's talking about Heather Hears. And he's like, Heather was the other one. And I'm like, son of a gun. I was like, every time I see her on Facebook, I'm like, where do I know her from?
Oh, I love Heather.
I called her immediately. And I was like, guess who this is? And she's like, oh my God. And now we talk like every day. And she has been such a bright spot in where I'm at in my life right now.
How long were you in that wheelchair with the bad ankles when you first got in here?
Talk about like the whole year was going, like I went through, I had the wheelchair for probably a good 4 months. And then I went from wheelchair to walker. I had 2 boots on for a long time. God, it was awful.
But if I have the dates right, this was all happening during first COVID then. So everything was shut down?
Just after. Well, it was my second year was COVID.
Okay, so like, how did you get to meetings like that? Did somebody drive you?
I had just an army of people that would call me every day, and they would even be like, "Hey, is Brianna coming with you?" My little one, and she was a little bit littler at the time, and I really, if she was, like, certain people had like 2 cars, like a little car and a big car, and they're like, "Okay, I just want to see what car I'm going to bring," and then I had men and women in their 70s taking me to meetings, get my wheelchair in and out of their car because I couldn't do it. And just at whatever cost, and I would sit and watching them struggle and I'm like, oh my God, I couldn't even get myself out of the car, but I'm like, oh my God. And they have no idea. Like I tell them still to this day, like these people that did this, like they're still a part in my heart, a place in my heart now. I still see them all the time at meetings. And I'm like, I tell that my story. I'm like, these people saved my life. Like literally, if I didn't have those meetings in the hospital and all that support my first year,
right?
I don't know. I'd like to say I wouldn't have gone back out because I was so broken and I did not want to die. Like when the doctor came in at 3 o'clock in the morning, it's like, hey, who can we call? And I was like, I just knew what that meant. I was like, am I gonna die? And he's like, 50-50 shot.
So if you're listening, right, and whoever's listening, what's your excuse today? I mean, listen to what these two young ladies just shared. We got Trish one over there with the jet ski, the concussion, the bad breakup, the freaking cancer, and then you got Trish number 2 over here, stay sober through this last car wreck that she had, broken ankles, internal bleeding, can't get to meetings herself. And not only did they stay sober, they've flourished in their sobriety. And one of the things I love about both y'all, and it took me years, probably because my last job, I had no choice. I had to be at a certain place all the time. This past year has been my favorite year in my sobriety, probably because I could go to different places whenever I want now. So I travel, I go to different clubhouses, I go to different meetings, I go out to Yulee, Fernandina, and I see both y'all doing that crap. Right? Because it's just not, and listen, to each their own, man. No, I'm not saying that don't go to just one place. But from my experience, being able to go to so many different places and see, listen, I'll see you at this place, but then I'll see you again at another place, but it's not you. Yeah. In other words, it's a different face sharing the same bullshit, right? But I need to hear it from a different face, you know? So I think that has really, really helped me this year in my sobriety grow, not only become a better version of myself, but spiritually wise too. And that's what I see from both y'all. Do you guys like really, really like agree with that as far as like, you know, like changing it up, not keeping it the same? Trish, one?
Yes. And I really do have trouble placing my expectations on people that I'm mentoring per se, because you know, I don't want to hear excuses. Oh my gosh. Because
give me some.
Because I ask them how willing are you to go, and they'll name all these reasons, and I'm like, you know, there's no reason you can't make a phone call.
Give me some reasons.
Yeah, but the reasons they say, that one said, she goes, you forget that I'm handicapped. I'm like, I did not forget that.
Oh, she's handicapped. Meanwhile, this one over here is like
how to walk my dog. Yeah, I've heard. Oh yeah. Couldn't make a meeting how to walk my dog.
Oh, you gotta walk.
Couldn't do it before or after the meeting.
Oh yeah,
I had to be right at 7:30. And I've heard, well, I've got to ask my mom. I'm pretty sure your parents would be totally on board.
Oh shit, yeah. I can't get on the bus. Oh my God.
I'll call you back 3 days later. You missed the meeting.
Yeah, someone said, when were you handicapped? And I'm like, have you not been paying it? Like, you've been around for 4 years, and like, are you so self-absorbed that like you didn't see me on a walker? Oh yeah, I remember. And I'm like, so yeah, I like, because yeah, she can drive, so like I had to wait for a while before I could drive myself, but I still you know, made it. And even during chemo, I was not supposed to be at meetings. I refused to hold hands before COVID. I did all the COVID stuff before COVID.
And I internalized stuff, so I would take it personally. I would see her and be like, oh my God, she won't hug me?
No, she won't hug me.
What did I do?
No, she's giving me some hugs, but I did bring out ice cream once in the hospital. I think that's why.
I did have someone come up and grab my hand. She sat by me, and I said, are you sick? Because you know, I was in a mask before, and she's like, I just have bronchitis, and she wasn't kidding. And I'm like, I could die. So I moved, and then she came up and grabbed my hand afterward. I'm like, are you touching my hand? Like, I don't hold hands, first of all, but why would you come up? Like, I could die. And she said, well, maybe you shouldn't be here. And I'm like, I'm going to die if I'm not here.
Yeah.
And so I did kind of feel like isolation was deadly to me.
Right.
And I had to do something, and I tried to modify things to where I wasn't, I didn't have so much contact, because germs. We had a friend, Randy, where an infection took him out after he fought all that stuff, and he was clear. So it was very important for us, and it was just amazing to me that like someone with bronchitis would come up and just grab your hand.
As they're going,
like, that's not okay,
right?
Yeah.
I'm not saying.
Yeah. I just through that the opposite of addiction is connection, and I when I don't have connection, isolation takes me out, and it does for a lot of people. So I felt like it was just as important to treat this. So on the days with the chemo, I could literally only get strength enough to go to my meeting, and that was my highlight of my day, and that's the only thing I woke up for near the end.
But
And,
that's the tools. That's the like for example, like let me try to relate, right? So and this Trish knows, I've been bankrupt twice in sobriety, I've been divorced twice in sobriety, and both of those times I moved into the front house of a sober living house in sobriety, right? With nothing, like no job. Well, the second time I had a job because I ran the place, I lived there, right? But the thing is, what I did was my highlight was going to meetings and doing the wrong thing at first. You know what I'm talking about, you know, sliding in people's DMs. It was a bad move, okay? And that's why I advocate not to do that out there, okay? And I'm telling y'all now, if you're the dudes out there sliding into one of their DMs, they and a lot of good friends of mine who are female, I tell them, anytime you want to run it past me, who they really are, let me know. So be careful, because one of the best parts about my last job is I got to see y'all who you really are, not just what you share in the rooms. And I don't want my friends to get hurt. Okay, so let's move on to something here, because what I see is Trish number 2, right? She's on like what is it, like the, I don't want to say board, but you're a big part of the Message of Hope group, which is a fantastic meeting. Okay, and I know you're all over town doing things with other people. Trish is on with San Marcos. She does things at the Fiesta group, right? So both y'all are in this kind of.
I get around.
Yeah, easy guys, easy. You just got 10 more DMs.
That's what comes.
Yeah, right. What I see, what we call that is like the politics of AA, right?
Yeah.
Now, from my experience, so everything's seasonal, right? I needed to be in the middle of those politics to see what they were really about. Some people love it, like Doug S. Ripcord, and he loves that shit. He has fun with it. God bless him. I can't do it no more. Right? But I see that y'all are in the middle of that, right? So. Are you finding anything, does any of that kind of like disturb you in certain ways? Do you get pissed off at these things, like these business meetings? Like what do you really see that's like a pet peeve? Because my thing is that for me, and I'll just say it, I think that it's 2022. My problem is the old timers or long timers, not to offend anybody, they need to start stepping away a little bit and have us start coming in, you know, to take things, not take things over, but to make it more of a younger kind of thing. 2 years sober, 5, 10, you know, enough of this, like, let's keep it 1985 stuff. Okay, and we're staying stagnant, and there's not a lot of fun being had in Jacksonville anymore. What do you think, Trish?
Oh, I have an opinion here. So,
Please, yeah.
So I'm a GSR for Message of Hope. I actually started it.
Can you tell everybody what GSR means? Because the first time I heard it, I thought it meant gunshot residue.
General Service Representative.
There you go.
And what a GSR does is represent your group and bring the ideas, opinions, and votes to area. And so I go to area quarterly every 4 months. And let me just say, so Message of Hope is part of Area 14. And anybody doesn't know, Area 14, it breaks down. So I'm in District 30, and District 30 has 23 meetings. When I go to area, there's the same 5 or 6 GSRs out of 23 meetings.
Wow.
So digest that. And so for the last year that I've done GSR for that, that's what I'm seeing is the same people. So sadly, and now we've got elections coming up, and I keep trying to promote this, if you will, but every position is open. Like all those old timers are done.
Nobody will
step up.
Yeah,
and like I'm in a position, like I'm going back to school in January, and they're like, Trish, you wanna, you know, and I'm like, and I thought about doing corrections, but I'm like, I don't know if that's the right, you know, my sponsor's like, yeah, I really think you should focus on school. You are, you know, I've got GSR, I've got treasurer, and I've got a intergroup commitment. So.
I think you're taking this Harley Quinn shit way too far with this correction stuff.
Yeah, I'm afraid I might not come back out, but I don't know what from my past might be lingering.
Right.
But no, it's something I'm very passionate about. I really love like doing service work at area level. And DCM is another position that, you know, I eventually down the road will, you know, love to step into. I love the politics of AA. Like, I love it when it runs smoothly, and it's not always going to, but because you've got the people that have to be heard and just, speak up nonsense. Like, let's change the to there in the big book. Like, are we going to talk about that for 30 minutes? Like, isn't there something else we could talk about?
Jesus, yes.
Like, I gotta go.
What color should we paint the hallway? That's
Oh
two
my
business
God.
meetings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that kind of silliness is like the intergroup meetings, like it's a given. Like I just kind of zone out after, and like I'll tune into certain reports and then I'm like, and then it's like an open discussion and it's like.
They used to be at Gateway until I brought them over to Java when I was there. Are they still there?
Yeah, still Java.
Okay, good.
I do Zoom though, because.
Oh, yeah. Why not? Yeah, shit.
I do Zoom only for the business meetings.
Yeah, I would too.
I'm actually very proud because of the clubhouse that I go to, because we just had a new chair take over at the group level, and I was going to propose to do one reading at the speaker meetings, because I've gone out of town and it's amazing, like there's more than one way to skin a cat.
I agree, 100%. That's one of the things I was talking about.
Jacksonville copies each other and they act like you can't change it. So I proposed to do one reading and the group actually said, let's do no readings. And I was surprised, but so it's been working out so well because.
Is that at Central?
Yeah, yes.
Beautiful.
And then when I go into rehab, I say since our speaker meetings don't do readings at speaker meetings, I'm not doing them here, and they're actually like, yes. And
well, that's because at Central there's about 20 minutes of damn announcements.
Yeah, that's exactly why we did it.
Shit.
But when I was new, to be honest, I did not need all three of those readings. And then where I moved, they do 5 readings each meeting.
Oh,
and
I know.
I don't have the attention.
Over on the north side there.
Yeah.
24-hour day book, daily reflections, everything.
Yeah, I don't have the attention span for that even now. So when I was new, that would have felt like freaking torture. And
yes.
I was like, does the newcomer really need to hear all 12 traditions ever, like all of this? Like, if you're doing it for them, like, you need to look at different ways to like, we can try it. We've tried it, and I think it works so well because the attention span, when I go out of town, they read, the long reading, how it works or whatever at maybe a birthday meeting. They do not read all those reading. It's like Jacksonville does that. And I feel like there's a lot of copying kind of each other. There's not a lot of intention. So we're getting ready to actually do our first ever group inventory, where we actually do an inventory of the group and ask, are we being effective? Are we, we have service commitments, and what are we doing to be effective to the community? Are there better ways we could do things? And so there's a lot of ideas, and I'm very excited about this.
I love that. Yeah. And this is just, again, my opinion, right? From being around a little bit. Yo, a meeting is 1 hour long. It's 1 hour long, right? So, like, for me, when I open my own AA clubhouse with a halfway house on it, I will. That's goals, right? What I would not have, number one, no announcements at all. No announcements. There is going to be a board. There is a board in every place. Have somebody stop by the board and look at the announcements. You want to make an announcement? Here's your announcement. Please stop by the board and look at announcements. Yeah. The end. You save 10 minutes for recovery right there. Yes. Okay? For me, and just for me, the only reading I would do is how it works. Because you know what? I still need to know how it works. All right. Listen, and that's on me. The 12 traditions, I still don't understand them. That's on me. One day I will really get into them. And you know what? The promises, you want to hear the promises? Open the damn book and read the promises. Okay. So guess what? Now I got about 50 minutes for a meeting of actual people sharing. Because there will be chips. There has to be chips, right? Not everybody does, but there has to be. So if I'm trying to get recovered for the day, go to recovery, and I'm going to a meeting, some of these meetings are only 35 minutes. Because then you ask, anybody want to say that they're new? Anybody with 30 days sobriety, right? And it's only a 35-minute meeting. I need more recovery. I need to hear y'all sharing stuff like that.
Exactly, because I went somewhere and the speaker didn't even get to start till 22 after, and she was still in prison at 55 after.
That's a good way to end it. That's a good way to end it.
It's like, I can't do this.
Well, Sam G on Saturday Night Live meeting that they got out at Beaches Unity Group. He just does how it works, and he brings up the double speakers. I think it's fantastic.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. So Trish, before, but we're getting to the end here.
Mm.
So maybe we could have a little fun here. What's going on with Messenger? Are you guys seeing a lot of people slide in those DMs?
Well, I got sober back in the MySpace days. So,
Oh shit!
So my harassment started on MySpace.
Oh my goodness!
And it's followed in
Like,
Facebook.
I remember someone hit me up. I'd only been coming around for 1 week. I didn't know how he could even find me on there, but he did, and he like lit up my wall.
Is he still around?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. I think he's in and out. He was just not well. And I remember my boss going, "Who is this guy saying it's nice to be around godly women?" Like he was blocking on my wall and saying it was nice. He made it look like we were dating and like kind of blocking up on my wall, like acting like we were dating and we weren't. There's just been so many of that stuff. And
yeah,
actually early on a guy was calling and doing some inappropriate stuff on my voicemail, and that was back when we had home phones. So I forwarded it to my cell phone, and I had this app to decode it, and it turned out to be a dude that coached football at my son's field. He was in the rooms, and I thank God I had that decoding thing, but it was non-stop, especially in the beginning. I still get it now. I'm better at deflecting it.
Right. Well, we got two beautiful girls who have great sobriety time, who are active, who are fun, who are great smiles. I mean, I get it, right? I kind of get it, right? But I think we need to slow down a little bit. And this is why, right? So at 4.5 years sober, I go through like divorce number 3, right? And I'm just emotionally broken. I didn't know what the hell was going on. And what I wanted to do was change the way I felt. Okay. Plus there was like kind of a revenge factor thing in my mind because I wasn't spiritually fit. So I was sliding in girls' DMs, right? I was until my last sponsor called my ass out. And then everything changed because I actually got spiritually fit, started putting God in my life and things. So I understand that. But at some point, if we're continuing to do that, that's a problem. That's not growing, right? And this is just, again, my opinion. Guys, if you're listening, you see these lovely ladies out there, have some courage and actually go up to them face to face and say, do you want to go for a coffee? Hi, I'm Joe.